Please, let me just take few. Let's just start by reviewing what we did last class. In our last class, we started out by what's it called? Explaining to us how to install chart of how to install QuickBooks and ZoboBook. And then in our last class, we were able to set up QuickBook for those that were there, and we were able to also set up what's it called ZoboBook accounts. And I told every one of us that to set it up, you just have to kind of create an account first for QuickBook, then for ZoboBook, you create an account also. So after the creation of account, that is when you can, be able to set your account or start your installation process. And I told you also that for you to be able to install anything QuickBook or ZoboBook, you must first have understanding of the business you are registering for, because every organization have their individual uniqueness and differences, and your understanding of the business will help you to set up the account basically very well in such a way that it will be better and it will suit the organizational need basically. So I told you the first thing to note when you are setting up an account and an online account or a software for an accounting software for any organization is have full understanding of what the business operation of such organization looks like, and then you'll be able to set it up effectively. So last week as well, we proceeded to, or please help us to mute yourself, Miss Kairat. So as
Oh,
well, last week we proceeded to setting up chart of accounts on QuickBook, chart of accounts on ZoboBook as well. So I told you to set up chart of accounts, you must also have understanding of the business, because you cannot compare a chart of account of a manufacturing organization to that of a service organization. The reason is because the reporting line items will vary. For instance, in manufacturing organization, we'll be seeing something like sales for a financial statement. Let me say profit and loss. We see you want to see something like sales in their income statement rather. You want to see something like sales less cost of sales, and in their cost of sales, you'll be seeing something like opening inventory, purchases, and the rest of that. But for a service organization, you may not see something like that because they do not have anything like inventory, because they are not really producing, they are not really into trading and the likes. But then we've seen something like service revenue. The cost of sales may not really be inventory and as such, but then if it just be the cost they incurred in delivering direct services they rendered. So basically, you have to set up chart of account based on your understanding of the organization. And I told you key component of chart of account. I told you every chart of account must have an account type, must have an account name, must have an account number for either event identification, account descriptions, and some may have sub accounts to make you pull out some account that belongs to the same type to help you pull it out whenever you need such reports. So basically, I told every one of us that was on the group on the call last week that or last class that we I sent a template basically to us in the group chat so that we can use that as a basis to set up our chart of accounts. I don't know maybe any of us did that basically. Even though some people have been contacting me that they had some issues to say in setting up the chart of accounts. Maybe we just try and do few or some kind of review into what we did last week. So I will start my presentation now. We start presenting now. So all right. Please, can you see my screen? Can anyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Please let that person mute himself. Oh, all right. Thank you. So the learning objective for this class, we ending this class at exactly 2 o'clock by God's grace. We will not be taking much of our time, but then I just want everybody to be on the same page and understand certain things. So for this class, we'll be reviewing setting up chart of accounts, that's COA. We'll be checking how to post transaction into QuickBook and ZoboBook. We'll be checking how to set up bank account for QuickBook and ZoboBook, how to do bank reconciliation for ZoboBook and QuickBook, and how to do journal entry. And then we take a few questions from there. All right. So basically, just like I said, we'll be reviewing few of what we did in our first class, and then that's have to do with setting up chart of accounts. For those that were not in the class, you can come to my DM. I can still help you to navigate how to install it. Installation does not just take too much processes. It just having few understanding and you'll be able to install whether QuickBook or ZoboBook as such. I'm talking about ZoboBook Online and QuickBook Online. There are some other versions of QuickBook like Desktop, QuickBook Accountant, Premiere, Pro, and the rest of that. So for the purpose of this class, we are dealing with QuickBook Online version and ZoboBook as well. So let me just take few time to review how to set up chart of account, just like I said last week. So the first thing is to go back to your what's it called? Go back to your your Zobook account, and that's Zobook Online. So once you go back to your Zobook Online or the account online, basically. All right. So this is Zobook dashboard. Please, can you see my screen? Please confirm. Maybe you can see my screen.
Yes,
Can everyone see my screen? All right.
yes.
So this is the Zobook dashboard. We've already created this account last week or last class.
So it's not showing
And
the whole book dashboard though.
what
I
can
think
you
the
see now?
learning objectives.
All right, let me do something to that.
Okay.
What about now? Can you see my screen now? Now,
Yes.
all right. Please let us move to ourselves. All right. So this is the dashboard for ZoBook, and as well, this is the dashboard for QuickBooks online version. This is the dashboard for ZoBook. This is the dashboard for QuickBook. Okay, so I told us how to install this ZoBook and the QuickBook online version. For the purpose of learning, you can just create a ZoBook or free account, and for the purpose of learning as well, you can just create a QuickBook free 30 days free trial so that we can also practicalize everything we have been doing in the class so far. So all right, just like I said, we be what's it called? We be checking out what we did last week. Last week, I told you to set up your chart of accounts, you must have understanding of the business, you must know the account name, the account type, and the account code for easy identification, basically. So I told you in your QuickBook, even QuickBook and ZoboBook online version, they seems to have some similarities in place, like they have some similarities in place within the relationship in their dashboard and the rest of that. In the dashboard for ZoBook, you see something like home, you see something like items, you see something like banking, sales, purchase, accountants, and a report. Then document is the last on the dashboard for ZoBook. Then for QuickBook, we see something like menu, dashboard, banking, sales, customer leads, cash flow, expenses, employee, time report, VAT, accounting apps and some other stuff like bookmark and the rest of that. So the dashboard for ZoBook and QuickBook online version seems to be closely related. So basically, for ZoBook, if you want to set up chart of accounts, you have to navigate in your from your dashboard down to your accountant. You will see the accountant from here. Please, are we still together? Are we still together, please?
Yes, we are together.
All right. So to set up your chart of accounts, just navigate in from your Zoho book. Just navigate your under the accountant module in your dashboard. Then you see manual donors and you see chart of accounts. Then you click on the chart of accounts straight off. Then what it does is that it presents you with a list of default chart of accounts for major accounts that is peculiar to most organizations. From my once I click on my chart of accounts, all these advanced tax, employee
Hello,
advance,
Mr.
prepaid
Moses.
expenses. Hello.
Good afternoon. Sorry.
Good
So the
afternoon.
other day when we were doing this thing, your screen seems bolder than this. But today, I don't know. Is it for my own end?
I am not really sure what's going on, but let me just try and see. Maybe is it my
Yeah, look at
settings or
it.
something?
Was that day? It was like bold enough. But no problem,
I
sure.
think
Just
I think I think the adjustment is from quick is from Zobook, but because you can see that it seems like QuickBook is kind of bolder than the dashboard.
but we use Zobook that day
Exactly.
now.
They've done
Yeah.
some update, I guess. Because
All
I
right, no
guess
problem.
they've done us. But please, can you still see what I'm doing at all?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will zoom. I will zoom in.
All right. Please just help us and work with what we have for now. Maybe later on, or if I see anything I can do to it, I will just try and as much as possible to just bold it or better. All right. So I told you to set up chart of accounts. We work with Zobook for now, then we go to QuickBook and do some other stuff. So you navigate to your accountant, click on chart of account. You see the default chart of account that is being given to you. Basically, some chart of account comes alongside with it from start. So you have something like under other current assets. You see your advanced tax, employee advance, prepaid expenses. For account receivable is a default account also, or which some other on then revenue and some other. So basically, you all these things, all these default account that will be given may not necessarily be what you wanted, but then you can keep them there or you can edit them. But then what concerns us for this class is we are creating new one basically. And I told you to create new chart of accounts. Chart of account I explained last week is like your online general ledger, you understand? Where every transaction will be posted into, so and forth. When we're talking about general ledger, you know what it means as an accountant. It's just a pool of your expenses, assets, liability, equity, and income. Basically, that's what we are dealing with in accounting. So basically, your accounting, your asset we have, your asset type like current asset, non-current asset will be a chart of account. Your liability, non-current liability, current liability will be a chart of account. Your revenue will be a chart of account. Your equity item like receive, like reserve, like retain earning, like share capital, and some other equity items will also be a chart of account. So the purpose of this chart of account is to categorize each transaction to which account class that they belong to. So basically, so I told you your chart of account, for every chart of account, you must have an account name, you must have an account code, you must have an account type, and then if you want to make a sub account, then there will be a parent account name. All right. To create a new chart of account, you just navigate to the top right corner and you see your new account there. So you just click on new. Once you click on new, it will bring out the create account dialog box for you. In that chat dialog box, you see account type, account name, account code, description. So then in the account type, I will click on which account. Let's say, for instance, I want to set up a fixed asset account. I click on fixed assets, you click on the account type. It will brings up all the account type in the Zobook account. So you navigate and pick anyone you want to select. So for this purpose, I'm just picking fixed asset for now. Then which account name under fixed asset did I want to create? I can say I want to create account for, let me say, land and building. So if I'm creating an account for land and building, that means any transaction that relate to land and building can be entered into this account. That is, for instance, let's say organization bought a new land or we building a new property at any location that is for our organization. If I wanted to enter such transaction into this Zobook account, it will definitely go into this land and building account. Now, this land and building account, you need is immediately you created the account name, it's brought out something else like make this a sub account. Imagine I have several land and building. I can just say this one is land and building. Then I put an hyphen and I say the one in Lekki. Now, the purpose of doing this is that I want every land and building to be zoomed up to be grouped together under a group heading or a parent name to be land and building. Now I can just say make a sub account. Now, the moment I click on make a sub account, what happens is that it brings out the parent account dialog. So that means that I can definitely link this land and building in Lekki to the parent name, which is the normal land and building. Let me just check if I have land and building already in my what's it called, chart of accounts. So I have something like property, so I can just easily link it to property. That means I'm making property the parent account to this land and building I'm just creating. The moment I click on this, that means this land and building in my chart of account will be under this property. Now the account code for property is already 111. I can say let this land and building be 11112. That means once I see 11112, I already know deals with transactions that belongs to land and building, but not just land and building, but properties as well. So then I can put the description. I say to record items of land and building. So then I click on save. So once I click on save, what this thing does is that it automatically bring it under what? Property. This is land and building. This is the account code I created, fixed asset. Then you see that it is traced to what? To your property. Please, I don't know, maybe you understand what I'm trying to say. Please kindly unmute yourself, anyone, and then ask your question. Do you understand what I did now?
Hey, Brother Moses.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to follow up with what you're doing. My own parent account is not bringing up property. It's only
Maybe that's
bringing
what
up.
just like I said, you may just try as much as possible to refresh it, because it can be an issue from their own end or maybe from your own end. You may just try and refresh and see what will happen basically. So once you
Like
try,
refreshing the whole
exactly,
whatever. Abi?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So once you do that, you should be able to navigate through, or what's it called? Creating the chart of accounts. So back to the chart of accounts now. What we'll be doing is, so once you do this for all the all the accounting GL you are expecting, you can now go straight to those, start your posting and the rest of that. So basically, this is just like a recap of what we did. I will not be setting up everything. Basically, I will not be setting up everything. So for this purpose, I'll not be setting up. So let me just show you the equivalent in QuickBook. How do I set up chart of account in QuickBook? Just go straight to your dashboard. You go to your accountant as well. You see it's closely related. Then you click on chart of account. So once you click on chart of account, also QuickBook will bring out the default, or what's it called, chart of accounts that came along with the QuickBook online version. For the QuickBook, you can see something like cash and cash equivalent, allowance for bad debt, allowance for sales, prepaid expenses, uncategorized assets, accumulated depreciation, property, plant and equipment, asset held for sale, deferred tax, goodwill, and the rest of that. So to also create a new chart of accounts for QuickBook, you just navigate to your new. Once you navigate to your new, you will see also the account type, the details, the name, the number, description, and the rest of that. So once I change it to what account type do I want to create, let's say I also want to create an income account, for instance. What account under income? Let's say I want to create a revenue account. Let me look for revenue. Let me just say sales. Now, revenue in general. Let me click on revenue in general. Then the account name, I can rename it and say revenue. For instance, let's say this one is a service organization. I can say revenue from service. So I can say revenue from service. So once I say revenue for service, what is the account type I want revenue for service to carry basically? So okay, let me say revenue. My revenue can start from account code 2 or 3. So once I know account code 3 is the representative number for anything that deals with revenue. But this is not just revenue. This is revenue from service. It's not just an income, basically. So I can say let income revenue or revenue from service start from 1. So once I say 1, and then I can say 000, because I can have any other one. I can say 3001 should be revenue from service. So then I can put the description as well and say to record all items of revenue from services rendered. So then also just like just like Book, I can also make this revenue from service a sub account to another account. You understand? So once I click on sub account, it brings out the parent account, and then I can navigate and select under which parent account that I want revenue from service to stay as well. So I will look for, let's say, revenue general. So it's this, what this means is that it will be this revenue from service will be a sub account under revenue general account. So I click save and close. So it shows that revenue from service account has been saved. Then I will just navigate to my chart of account and see where it belongs. So this is actually what we created now. You see, this is the revenue from service as a what? As an income account type. Then it's under revenue general. So please, I don't know if anybody has any question with respect to creating a chart of accounts for QuickBook and ZoboBook before we proceed basically to our today's class in details. Do anybody have any question about creating chart of accounts in our class? Please signify. Do you have any questions with respect to creating chart of accounts on QuickBook, on ZoboBook? Do you have any question? Okay, since there is no question, I will take that as there is no question for now. So going straight to the next thing on our item list, we'll be treating how to post transaction on QuickBook. So I told you posting transaction on QuickBook is at the expense of the chart of account you set up. To post your transaction on QuickBook, it is at the expense of the chart of account you've set up. And then just like I said in our last class, that every accounting software is still or developed based on accounting principle. That means if you do not still understand some certain accounting principle, you may have issue posting transaction basically. So you must understand your normal debit and credit so that you will not be posting some things into the wrong account, because even though you set up the right chart of account and you did not get your posting right, your financial reporting will still have some issue. All right, so make sure you understand your general debit and entry principle very well, and there is still room for learning for those that are not really that sound in posting and all those things. So basically, so how to post your transaction, like I said, the purpose of setting up chart of account is it will enable us to set up where we will be posting our transactions into. So now we'll be taking how to post your transaction, let me say on ZoBook for now, then we take the QuickBook aspect today as well. So now, how do I post a transaction into my chart of accounts? Please, are we still on the same page? Can anyone hear me? Just notify me if you can still hear me. Can you see my dashboard, please?
And here you, we are seeing everything.
All right. So to post your transaction, I told you QuickBook or ZoboBook divide transaction into receipt and payment. That is your revenue and your payment, which is your expenses, revenue and expenses. So for your revenue, to post anything related to your revenue, creating invoices and the rest of that, we see it under six. And then for your expenses, which include your normal operating expenses, or whether it's a capital expenses like you bought a land and the rest of that, it will still be under your purchases account. Then if you want to make adjustments, you can do that using your journal entry. We are still coming back to your journal entry basically. So then let's take for instance this organization accounting content hub have started operation, and you are the accountant, and your first day at work they just ask you, okay, you made a sales. Let's say this is a what's it called? A manufacturing, or let me say service organization basically, and you render service for your customer. The first thing is to do what is to create invoice. Your invoice is what you will send to your customer. Invoice is just to notify your customer for the services rendered or to be rendered. Don't get me wrong. Invoices is just a notification to your customer, and what it does is that it notifies them of services rendered or services to be rendered. So I told you to do that, to create an invoice for sales. Let's say you want to record a sales transaction. Basically, you navigate to your sales in your dashboard. You see your customer, you see your codes, you see invoices, you see sales received, you see payment received, you see your current invoices, credit notes. Now, I told you earlier on that you must understand the accounting principle. Now, we are using Accra basis of accounting, and that one is saying revenue must only be recorded. Revenue is actually recognized rather, not necessarily when you receive payment, but when the services has actually been rendered to them. So, but then we can still create it to notify them. So in the sales module in your dashboard, you can create the list of your customers such that when you are creating an invoice, you can easily identify and pick any of your customer. So how to create customer, basically, you just navigate to the customer, you input your customer details, the name. For instance, let's say my customer is Mr. or let me say Moses. This person is an individual. So I will change the customer type from business to individual. I say individual, then Mr. Moses, automatically, let me just leave it as Mr. Moses. Then the display name for that customer, I say Mr. Moses. I can put the customer email, I can put the customer number, I can put the customer currency, the tax rate, and the rest of that. Then I save the customer. What it does is that this customer, anytime I want to transact with this customer, I can easily what? Click on the customer and then I will see them. So the next thing is, don't forget we are recording a transaction, which is sales. Then the first thing is to create your invoice for this customer. So you see new invoice. The moment you click on new invoice, you see invoice. Invoice does not necessarily means that sales has taken place. Just don't forget, invoice is to what? Notify your customer that, okay, oh, there is a sales to be rendered or there is a sales that has been rendered. So it's a two-way thing. Invoice can notify them that, okay, we are about to render a service or sell a goods or service to you, basically, that you will need to make payment now or in the future, basically. So the first thing in your new invoice is the customer name. That is from your customer bank. You can just come and once you click anywhere in the customers, add the customer, you see the list of your customer. Now this is the Mr. Moses as a new customer that I've created earlier on. I click on name. Then that means I'm billing this invoice to this customer. So that's what it implies. So invoice number will be automatically generated according to the sequences that you've been creating. So if imagine this was my first invoice, it will be showing invoice 0001, not invoice 10. What this thing means is that this is the 10th invoice I'm creating on this account. So, and you can as well adjust or edit your invoice. If you want to create an order number, you can do that. The invoice date, imagine the invoice was meant to be sent yesterday and today is second, and I want to send it here. I want it to carry the date of yesterday. I can easily change that here and change it to 1st of September, even though we are in what? September 2nd. So, but then let me just change it back to 2nd and then. So the next thing is let your customer know what the invoice is for. So what is the purpose of this invoice? And say, okay, oh, then payment for accounting software installation. So what this thing means is that the subject of this invoice will be that the person will easily see that this invoice is meant for what? Payment for accounting software installation that I rather install for my client or have installed for the person. So basically then item is, don't forget you have your item as well under your dashboard. Item is where you display the list of what you are doing, whether it is product or services. But in case you do not have the product already in your item, you can create new product and say, okay, what's it called? You can create add new item. But for the purpose of this one, I can just say, okay, let me just create new product so that someone can see what we are doing here. So the product, the item you can create is can be goods or can be service. This one is actually service. So I will say the name of the service is, or let me say, Zobook installation. So that means the service I'm running to this person or the service I want to sell is so book installation. You can put the measurement, whether it is in unit, but I can leave that. Then what? How much is the selling price for this Zobook installation? I can say it is 50,000. Okay. So if I say it is 50,000, that means per unit of this Zobook installation that I do for customer, I will charge what? 50,000. Then any revenue from this item, where do I want it to go to? I can say sales. Already see sales. So once I say sales, I can say it is not sales, it is rental income. Immediately you open this thing, you open the chart of accounts you've set up earlier on. So once imagine I want this thing to go to sales, it will just I could just click on sales here, and then I can put the description. And if there's any tax like value added tax, I can just say okay, let value added tax be 7.5%, and I've set up the new item. So once I do that, it will bring it up here. that the first item I'm invoicing to this person for payment is Zoho installation. How many quantity? It is just one. What is the rate? 50,000. Is there value added tax attached to it? Yes. So immediately you do that, it will bring out the total for your invoice. Then invoice is 50. The value added tax is 3,750, which is 7.5% of the 50,000. And the total I'm expecting this customer to pay me is 53,750. Imagine I've set up my chart of account very well. What this thing does is that it posts this 73,750 to my value added tax payable, and then this 50,000 goes straight to my sales account. Now, if I receive the payment now, it will go straight to my bank account if I put the bank account there. But if I'm not receiving the payment now and I've sold and I click that I've sold this item to the customer, it will go to my receivables account basically. So then I can also add any other item. Imagine what I'm invoicing to this person is more than one item. I can click on add another line and I can do that as much as possible. Then the customer notice, maybe I want the customer to make payment. I want to say thanks for your continuous patronage. I just want to appreciate them. I can also tell them, please kindly make payment to this account. And then you see the account, you put your company account details, and then the person will see it on the invoice. Also, I can easily integrate this Zoho book with my online payment platform. If I have an online payment platform that I've set up for, let's say, Quick or InterSwitch, eTransact, all those online gateways, you can also integrate it with it and you will see it. Then imagine I've received the payment for this account. I will just delete this and then I will mark that I have received the payment. Then it will ask me which account was it paid to. Now, the list of the payments, you see payment mode. Once I click on the payment mode, I can say it was through bank transfer. Which account was it paid to? I can just click any of my bank accounts here, and then it will show that the payment will, instead of me to start entering this payment again in the bank account, no, it will automatically post it to the bank account, and then you see the GL that was traced. Then for reference purpose, I can also attach here, okay, the invoice the person or the payment received the person sent to me. I can also attach the payment invoice, and then I will click on save. Then it will come here as well. So once I do that, I click on save. As I click on save, it will show me the invoice basically. So the invoice we carry the name of the organization, the organizational logo, the what's it called, the location is virtual, the bill to Mr. Moses, the date it was issued, the invoice date, the due date, the total amount, and the rest of that. Then it shows me the journal that this transaction has actually passed. What has happened is that the account that was debited was credited was sales. That means this transaction credited 50,000 naira to my sales account. It credited also my receivable because I did not mark it as paid. I didn't mean I marked as paid. It will not be in my receivable, it will be in my bank account. You see, bank debited 50,000, and then tax payable will be 3,750. What it helps me to do is that at the end of the period, if I want to remit this tax, I can easily pull out the amount of tax payable for the period and I will remit it to the necessary place. So this invoice, I cannot click on send. I can do that by saying, okay, let me save it as PDF. Once I save it as PDF, it will download and then I can easily send it to my customer. So this is the invoice we just created now. See the invoice. So this is the invoice we just created to bring up our organizational name, the details of the invoices, and the rest of that. And I can easily send this to my customer for their own reference purpose also. So that's just how to create that. Now, the effect of this thing is just that in my chart of accounts, this thing has already recorded the transaction, and the transaction recorded is that sales has been credited by 50,000, account receivables showing that I've not received this amount has been debited by 53,750, and my tax payable has been also what credited as 3,750. So I will pause at this junction and take a few questions before we proceed. So I don't know if anybody have any questions to basically ask. If you have any question with respect to what I just finished right now, please signify and let me know where the issue is coming from. Do anybody have any question? Do anybody have any question? Any question? Are we still on the same page? Hello? Are we still together?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Since we are together, that's just how to post transaction on QuickBook. on Zobook rather, imagine if it is a payment transaction, then I will not come to the sales module. I will just go straight to the purchases. I click on expenses. Just like the sales aspect, I will set up my vendor, that is my suppliers, those people that I'm getting my sales, that I'm getting my, what's it called, my product from, my suppliers, and the rest of that. Those people I'm buying from as an organization and my vendors. So I can set up for easy identification, then click on expenses, then the expenses, I click on new. As I click on new, I fill in the details of the expenses. Which account is this expenses affecting? Paid, which account did I pay through? Have I paid? If I've not paid, I will just go and click on payables to be the account I'm paying through. That means I'm still in the vendor, putting the details, and I save. Then it automatically record the transaction for me. So that's just how to basically, set or create a transaction in QuickBook. Now, I don't know. All right. So I think we are done with posting of transaction in QuickBook. But then if I want to adjust this transaction, yeah, I cannot adjust it from the normal way I set it up. For instance, the sales, if I want to adjust the sales transaction I just entered, I cannot go straight to sales module and adjust it. I just have to go to my journal entry and raise a counter entry to what, to affect that transaction. We are still coming back to journal entry. So that's just that about that. So straight off, we'll be moving on to how to set up bank accounts. Now, let's say our organization have three bank accounts we are using for our business. Basically, to set up your bank account, you just have to go to your banking module, and under the banking module, I just have to click on what, or add manual. So once I click on manual, you can also add it automatically by linking it. That means you have to sign up in your mobile app or any other transaction, any other means of signing it up automatically. But for most people, I would prefer you set it up manually for a start. So then once you click on add a bank, see the select account type. Is it a credit card you are having? Is it a bank account? I click on bank. Then the account name for that bank. Let's say this account, basically, we are using it to record our petty expenses. Or I will say petty bank. Then which bank does it? I can say, okay, it is Zenith Bank. Then usually what me I used to do for easy identification is I will now put XXX and the last four digits of the account number so that I can easily identify. Let's say in this for this account number, bank account, the last four digits is 4002. I just say 4002. Immediately I see this 4002 and I see petty bank account, I already know it is for the petty account and it is Zenith Bank. Then the account code for the, because this one is also equivalent to chart of account too, it add an account for bank. And bank is a current asset under your chart of accounts. And say, since I know my chart of accounts for bank or asset start from one, I can say let this one be 10002. All these things is just, or 10020. All these things is just normality so that you'll be able to trace it. Then this bank account is what currency is it? I can pick up the currency and say, okay, it is Australian dollar, it is Canadian dollar, it is China yuan, it is euro, it is GBP, it is Indian rupee, it is Japanese yuan, it is Nigerian naira, or South Africans are United States dollars, and the rest of that. So you just pick the naira account. That means you can set up your account in other currencies, even because most companies, there are some companies that they have United States domiciliary account, and that one is in dollar, is a dollar account. Imagine your organization have dollar account, you have to set it up in dollar account so that any transaction that is coming from that account, you already know it is in dollar. So then the account number, you can also put the account number. Since I said it is, let me say it is 1000402. That's the account number. The bank name, I already know it is Zenith Bank. So I put the bank account. If your account have routing number, then the description can say to record or petty transaction. So okay, and I can make this a primary account for every. If you make it a primary account, that means for most of your transaction, this is where you'll be paying through. But then we are not clicking that, so you just click on save, and then what it does is that it opens up you open up a new account That means you can add transaction from here. You can then add expenses, you can add your transfer, sales return, calculating and the rest of that. So all these things, that's just how to set up bank account. You see, it is very seamless and it is very simple. You just have to know what you are doing and then you can easily, navigate through setting it up. You can do the same thing for every other account in your Zobook account. So basically, that's how to add up an account. So it automatically brings it here. So it brings it here. And it's showing here Petty Bank account, Zenith Bank, borrow 040002. So it's the amount in the bank will be showing, the amount in Zoe will be showing. So the purpose of this is if there is, because we may be doing something like reconciliation basically, and that I think that is our next item on the list, if I'm not wrong. So that's how to set up your bank account. It is very seamless, it is very simple. So then the next thing that will come to our mind is how do you set up, how do you do bank reconciliation? And you should know as an accountant that the reason why you are doing bank reconciliation is simply because your bank account does not agree with what we are having in your book. So this one, that's why they call it Zoho book, basically. That's why it is being called, even QuickBook call it book. It's just like an online accounting book of record, basically. And so what it does is just that it enables you to do your reconciliation. And the purpose of bank reconciliation is to just reconcile your your bank account, your balance as a bank account with your book. Maybe it doesn't agree. Imagine what you are showing in your book for the particular bank account is 100,000, and what you are having in your bank statement is 95,000. That means there's a discrepancy of 5,000 naira basically. So the purpose of reconciliation is to know where that 5,000 naira is. And that one can happen as a result of few things, but may I summarize it to be first, the reason why the bank account or bank book balance does not agree with cash book balance is because number one, of timing difference, and number two, because of error. Timing difference in the sense that it is because of some transaction that has not been captured as a result of time, or error can be as a result of error because there might be some error from the end of the bank or some error from the accountant's end. So basically, you just check into that error then and you reconcile. So how do you do your reconciliation in your Zobook account? Let's say I want to basically, or what's it called? Do reconciliation for this account. The first thing I have to do is to import the transaction. Import rather, I will have to import the bank statement for this transaction. Once I import it, it will automatically bring in the transaction. That means you should have your bank statement already. So you click on choose your file, you import your bank statement, it will populate the transaction in the bank statement, and you will see transaction that have not been matched to your book. Or basic another alternative on how to do that is you come here, once you check your bank statement and you check, imagine we've posted a lot of transaction into this petty bank account, you will see the list of transactions showing here. So for the period we are dealing with, you can just say, okay, let's say we are dealing with September transaction, September month end, basically, or July month end. Then what we have to do is just to check what are the transactions we are supposed to posted into this account. What are the transactions that have not been captured in our bank statement? Then I open my bank statement, maybe in an Excel file, and then I will check which one has not been entered in my book. Then I will just come here and add the transaction, whether it's an expenses transaction or even it can be your bank charges. Then I click on expenses. If it's an expenses, I click on expenses. And if it's what type of expenses is it? If it is bank fee and charge, your bank fee and charges, because most time bank will not notify you that they've done their bank charges. So just click on, you can save it. That means you can save sending bank as the vendor here because they are the one charging you for that expenses. As basically, how much is the expenses for bank charges? You can just say it is 15 naira, and then you can also sum everything together for time saving. Then so let's say the total bank charges for the period that has not been recorded is 500.75. Then I just put it. I say 500.75, and then the description I can say to record uncaptured bank charges for the period. And I will click on save. So once I click on save, what it does is that it will show me the journal this thing has raised. So the journal raised is that it will what? Debit bank fee and charges as an expenses, and it will credit 500. By the time I do this, my book balance must agree with what I have in my bank statement. But if it is an let's say it is an unpresented check, an unpresented check is a check you've given to your supplier, but they've not taken it to bank. That means they've not debited you. And as a result of that, your bank statement will be higher than what you have in your book on your Zoho book. And what you just have to do is to just, you know, add it back to your this thing, to your Zoho book account to show that your customer, your supplier are actually not checking the check to the bank to cash it. You understand? So then you just have to show the effect, and you can go from there to make your book balance. So basically, that's just that about bank reconciliation. There might be some other transaction that is not expenses, that is not. So you just have to know what is the nature of the transaction. Basically, once you know the nature of the transaction, then you can just go straight and do your reconciliation, since you know which account will be affected. Now, the last thing we'll be taking today because of our time is journal entry. And I told you the purpose of journal entry is actually to, you know, uh to adjust any transaction basically. So to adjust any transaction in Zobo, you have to go back to your dashboard, navigate through your accountant, and you see manual journal. Now, the purpose of this manual journal is to correct. Let's say I've made a sales and I posted it to the wrong account. I can just raise a journal to just correct it. Now, the sales we did the other time, the transaction we did the other time for this, there was a transaction. I think, okay, this one was the one I published the other time. So let's say new journal, I raise a new journal to correct it. Now let's say I've credited uh my receivable instead of crediting a bank account. What will I do? What journal will I raise? Now I've debited my as a result of that, I've debited my receivables instead of debiting my bank account. Now to reverse that transaction, what will I do? Now means I will now credit my receivable now and now debit my bank account. So to do that, I will now say what's the reference. I can put a payment journal reference number. I can put the description to correct wrong posting. That is why they put this thing under this journal entry under accountants, because they believe accountants should have understanding of the right posting. So then transaction type I can put it is sales. And what transaction do I want to affect? I can just say, okay, since I want to debit my, I debited my receivables instead of debiting my bank. So I will now say, okay, look for my bank. Let's say it is my petty cash account. It's also a bank account. And the other one is my receivables. So I say account receivables. So description, reclassification.
I have a question. Oh.
Right. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. So are you saying that if I mistakenly posted like a transaction, I can't edit or delete it?
You cannot delete, but you can correct.
That means I can't edit too.
You can edit an invoice if you have not sent it, for
I'm talking about
instance.
posting.
If you let's say you record the sales, sales is
Yeah.
a posting also, and then you've generated an invoice that has been sent to your customer. Quick Zoho book will not allow you to edit that one, but imagine you've not sent it, you can edit it. Understand?
Okay, so
But
are you
then
saying Zoho book works like posting and invoice works together?
if we post an invoice and that means you are recording sales. And what it means is that your sales will increase in your Zoho book. And whether you receive it in cash or if it is cash sales, then your bank account, the person will pay to or the person paid to will be increased by that amount. So automatically it raises a journal entry crediting your sales, showing that you've received sales, made the sales, and then debiting your bank account, showing that your bank account has increased by the amount the person paid. But if the person have not paid, if it not show bank account, it will show account receivable. That means you are expecting that amount of sales made in that receivable. That's why it's showing it as receivables account. You understand that? So if you raise an invoice and the invoice you are raising will also raise a journal. That's why I think I showed you in the other time we are raising an invoice.
Okay, what if we receive a money like an inflow and we didn't raise an invoice?
Then you have to go to your sales receipt, or you can
To
also navigate and go to straight to. You can also do that directly from your bank account. This is what you are talking about. Let's say you received a money. Let me discard this and come back to that. Let's say you received a money to any of your pet. Let's say petty bank account. Now you receive the money to this account. This is an account, Zenny Bank petty cash account. You just come under your transaction. You did not receive invoice. You just say, okay, oh, money in. You see under money in, you see money out, you see money in. So the customer made the payment or says without invoice. Can you see says without invoice?
Yes,
Can you see sales without invoice here?
yes, yes.
So you click on sales without invoice, then the revenue account. Which account do you want this thing to enter? You can
Mm,
say sales. Abi now, which customer paid you? You can click on the customer or create the new customer. So once you click on the customer and say Moses, for instance, which day did the person paid? Let's say the person paid 29th August. How much did the person pay? Let's say 50,000. The person paid 50,000. Is he including cash? How did the person paid? Here's the next question to ask. Bank transfer. Abina. Then you can put the description and you click on save. Automatically, this thing has raised a Jonah also. And the Jonah raised is that it has increased your sales by 50,000 and your petty bank account, that is, the money has entered your bank account as 50,000. Do you understand? And also, you may want to
yes,
add your what? Your attachment, that is the sales receipt the person transferred. The transfer receipt, you can also click it here and say save and it will come here. So that's just, but that one has also what? Generated an entry automatically. Do you understand what's it called? My instances.
yes, I do. Thank you.
All right. So that's just that. But now let's now say this person did not pay to this bank account. You understand? Let's say this person paid to any of the other bank account and I want to correct this transaction. What will I do to correct it? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that is the purpose of Jonah. If I want to say I want to edit this one, it may also allow me to edit this one because this one is an internal issue. But the moment it has to relate with invoices that has already been sent, Zobook will not allow you to readjust it because the general ideology is, why will you be adjusting an invoice that you have already sent to the customer? Eventually, the customer has received it and has paid, and you want to adjust it. For proper accountability, Zobook will not allow that, basically, but you can raise a Jonah to that effect, and that is the purpose of that Jonah. So now let's say this account now that I just received, the money I just received, I want to correct it because it did not enter into my petty cash account. It entered into another account. I will just use this manual Jonah to do that. You understand? So I click on new Jonah and I put my reference number, I put everything. The account I want to debit, I just say, okay, oh, the petty cash account is the one I want to debit. Let me just look for it and say, okay, I click on this. The one I want to credit is what? Let's say the person paid into this tuition account, for instance. So I just put the description, reclassification, the contact person of the customer that did the account. Does he have tax? And I put 50,000. If I'm debiting this one, no, this one should be credit, Control X. So I debit this one, I credit this one. That means I'm reducing this one. I'm increasing this one. So then I click on save and publish. This one is not going is because I did not put, let me just put the number details. Not if you cannot be empty. Let me just put some information to just, so I click on save and published. What this thing has done is that it has reclassified. The Jonah now raised is now petty cash account has been debited, and the what's it called, or tuition account has been what, has been debited, and that's just the effect of Jonah, and that is the purpose of Jonah, to just correct error. Jonah is used for correction of error basically, and then to input some transaction that has not been captured as well. So that's just that about or what's it called, about review setting of chart of account, posting of transactions, setting up bank accounts, bank reconciliation, journal entry, and the rest of that. Then the QuickBook equivalent. Now, to do that one in your QuickBook, also to record sales, you just have to come to your product and services, customer, and the rest of that. Let's say your sales, for instance. So I can create an invoice here. If I want to create invoice in this account, I just click on create invoice. Just like the other one too, I put the customer details, the customer name, the rest of that, the billing address, the customer address, I have to type it, but immediately I think I've set up my customer already. The billing details will be there, Now, QuickBook allow you to put the terms of sales. Is it net 30? All these things have implication. Net 60, net 15. Net 30, I think it implies that if this customer paid within 30 days, there's the discount allowable to for this customer. So you can also say net 15, net 60, and the rest of that. Everything has implication. We'll not be talking about that because it's not within the jurisdiction of this class, basically. All right. Then the customer details, you put the product, you would have set up your product, but if you do not have a
Sir,
product, you
please
can also
do
only add.
sorry.
Okay.
Good
I can
afternoon.
hear you. Good afternoon.
Please, can you please you are as in you are fast. So
I'm too
sorry.
fast.
Yes, sir. Please just take
Okay.
it because I've opened the quick book now. You are just please take it easy on me,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, the QuickBook account. I told you the interface for QuickBook is also similar to Zobook if you have been following from the start of the class. Okay, so your QuickBook also to make a sales or to record a sales or to send an invoice, you just have to come under the sales module for what's it called for Zobook is also under the sales module. So the interface is slightly related. So once you click on your sales, you click on all sales, you see create invoice. So the create invoice is there. The customer is also there where you can set up the list of your customers. Then your product and service is also there where you can set up the list of your product and services you are rendering for easier identification. The purpose of setting up these customer and products and services before time is so that when you are generating new invoice, you can easily add your customer, add your customer from your customer list, add your existing product and services from your product and services list, basically. But if you have not done that, that means while setting up the new invoice, you just create invoice and then you can add new customer, put in the customer details, put in the billing address, the terms of the sales can be here. So, and I told us that the term is just talking about different sales term like net 30, net 60, everything has implication. So it can be the net 30 can be that okay, if the customer made a payment between 30 days of receipt of this invoice, there's a discount allow of let's say 5% for this sales. The invoice date will be here, and the due date is when this invoice is actually due for payment. The moment the due date passes, your QuickBooks starts recording an account receivable and it will be showing the due date. And the due date is simply related to your account receivable management. And that one is talking about how long has your customer been knowing you. Then you can easily see the ones owing you for 5 days late, 10 days late, 2 months, 3 months, and so on. So you'll be able to use that for order management information or management report basically, and then your invoice number will be here. So because this is the first invoice, because this is the first invoice we are making on this account, is showing it as invoice 1001. But me, I can say my invoice will be more than 4 digits. I can say, okay, oh, let this one be 10001. So depending, please let that person mute himself. Mr. Jamal, please help us to mute yourself. Thank you. All right. So then I can do that. Then the tag, I can put the tag, which is simply equivalent to or what is particular or special about this invoice, just like the subject in the other Zobook account. Then the product, if you have a product list already, you can just click on the product. It will show you the list of product. But because we do not have a product list, you can add new. If you add new, it will bring you, is it an inventory? Is it a service? Then you click on service, for instance, put the name of the service, category, the description, this rate, income account. That is where you want it to enter service. You can say, no, this one should not enter service. I can say enter on categorized income. Then I click on save physically, but that's not that. We are not doing that now. So you put the description, put the quantity, the rate, the amount. Also, this one allows you to also put in your tax details. You can put it there also. That means you would have set up your tax issues before this time. Then the message, is there any other message you want to communicate to your customer on this invoice? You can say, okay, we'll kindly make payment to this account, kindly do this, kindly do that, and your refund terms and conditions as well. That is, if payment has been made, it cannot be refunded and all those things. You can just put that there. If there's anything like attachment to this thing, you can also put your attachment and you click save. The moment you click save and send, imagine the customer email is there. It automatically links and send from your work or organizational email and send it directly to the customer's email. That means this invoice will land in few minutes in the customer's email box, and then they can easily see it. But then if you click only save, you can also what? Make it a PDF and send it to your customer, and that is how to make your sales. Then the only you click on sales or save rather, it will show you the journal entry passed as well. And that's just that about QuickBook. There's nothing special. It is simply related to the other one, the other one we have done as well. So I think that's that about that. Then under to the other the other aspect is the expense aspect. Expenses is where you record your capital expense and operational expenses, just like the Zoho book also. For Zoho book, you have to go to purchases and see your vendors and expenses. The vendor list, that is your supplier list, will be managed there, and the end expenses is here. For QuickBook, we see that under expenses, you can see expenses and your suppliers, which is still your vendor. So it's also related, just like what you've done the other time. If you want to record an expenses, you click on expenses, click on new transaction, the expenses, you just click on expenses, and it bring up the expense mode for you. Then pay. Who did you pay? That is, which vendor did you pay? If you have the list of vendors, as is your supplier, you can easily see them here. And if you have if you don't have the supplier is not in the list, you can also, just add new supplier, put in the payment account. Am I paying through a bank account, or am I owing this? Will I owe this customer? Accrued liability means I've not paid. You can also create a payable account if you do not want this language. But what is important is still payable is still other current liability. That's the most important. But I told you earlier on that you should have set up your chart of accounts effectively before you start your posting, basically. So if I can say this customer has a balance owing us. If it does, then no problem. If it doesn't, then payment date, the date you are making payment, or the date you made the payment method. How did you make the payment? Is it through cash? I click on cash. Then it shows that it is cash. Is it through check? Then it check. Then you put the check number as reference number. And you can also do that by attaching it here. Also, then the category of the expenses. Once I click on category, what type of expenses? Is it bank charges? Is it bad debt? Is it dues and subscription? Is it rental? Is it income tax? Where if you just once you click on the expense, the category, it will show you the list of expenses in your chart of account, including your capital expenses. This one is actually a capital expenses. What's it called? I'm looking for a capital expense, for instance, but we've not said, okay, property, plant, and equipment is the capital expenses. Let's say this payment is actually for a new property that we bought. I just put the description here, the amount, and then I click on save, and then I can attach the payment receipt if I've made the payment, and then if there's no payment, then I will leave it as that because I already told them I'm paying through accrued liability, which is payable, and what it implies is that I'm still owing this vendor or supplier. Then I click on save and close. Then it will show me the journal entry passed as a result of this transaction. So that's just that about creating transaction in QuickBook and ZoboBook. I don't know maybe any of us have questions to ask because this is where we actually be stopping for today's class. And if there's any question about posting any transaction into your QuickBook, posting into your ZoboBook, posting into your expense into your QuickBook account, I will be taking them now. Thank you so much for staying, for those that are available, for the all through the classes, for those that are going on and off. Thank you so much. And we will be taking question now. So I will pause here and take question. If there's any question with respect to the learning objective from reviewing chart of account, posting of transactions, setting up bank accounts, bank reconciliation, journal entry, I will be taking the questions now. So please, if you have any questions you want to ask, please do it to ask a question at this junction. Does anybody have any question?
Yes,
Does
good
anybody have any
afternoon.
question? Yeah, good afternoon.
Thanks so much for the class.
You're welcome.
Please about this chart of account.
Okay.
I noticed that when I want to create new account, there are some account type that doesn't bring sub account. It's not all the account that brings sub account. So I want to ask that is it that it depends on the kind of account you want to create, or is there a way to go about it if it doesn't bring this, make this a sub account?
Yeah, well, I think the reason is because of the module we are using. This one is actually a free module
Okay.
version. So, but then I think there are, just like you said, there are some accounts that may not bring, or what's it called, sub account. But for most accounts, you will definitely, or what's it called, sub account. And it is after you've created the account name, the account type, that you see the sub account displayed under. You want to make a sub account, then you click on make a sub account, then you see you'll be asked to put the parent account, and then you are good to go. I
Because
don't.
when I realized, when I click on other assets, it doesn't bring that sub account for me. Then when I click on bank, it doesn't bring the sub account. But if I should click on other current accounts or other
Exactly.
hey, it brings
Exactly.
that.
Bank may not necessarily give you, because that one does it automatically.
Okay.
To create a new bank account is not even chart of account you will go to.
Okay.
It is under your banking. This is it, for instance. Let me share my screen so you can see. So, what's it called? Okay. Please confirm. Can you see my screen?
No.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right. So to set up a new bank account, you are not expected to go to your accountant and start clicking chart of account. No, there's a banking section, and that's why I told you to set up your bank account. You have to go to bank, and then what it means is that all
Okay.
these account that shows here are sub accounts to your bank automatically. So that's what it means. Is all these account that shows here, they are sub accounts under the banking view. That's why it's showing you the banking view, all accounts. So imagine I now want to add a new bank account now. What I just needed to do is to add manual. So, but if you are going to your chart of account to say, okay, I want to make one, it may not agree, mostly for this free version. So that's just how it is. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I don't know, maybe any other person has any question with respect to what we have covered today, or questions.
Please read the recorded the one you recorded. Will you send it to us?
Okay, it will be available. I think I just posted it on our channel. So if you want to check it out, you can check. I may not be send. I mean, I think the thing will be too large to be sending one after the other. So
No, no,
I'd
no.
rather
Like
post it on the
to
chat.
the group.
The
I need to
recorded
record.
version, exactly. I may
Okay.
not be sending it to the group. This was the group chat is WhatsApp chat. So I would rather post it on the channel and let anyone that wants to check it out check it from there.
Okay.
I think that's how we go about it.
No
So,
problem. Thank you.
Good
does anybody has
afternoon.
any question? Good
Have
afternoon, ma'am.
good afternoon. Thanks for the class. Please, I just want to ask, if is there a way we can just get a line item, maybe unique income statement for student of financial position, for example, sales now. Where are we going to go? Which icon are we going to press to give us the sales for a particular period of time?
Okay, that's still a module we have not entered, but just to answer your question,
What do you say, sir?
to do that, that's actually a module. We have not actually entered the reporting section of the Zoho book and QuickBook. So
Okay.
it's what you're asking is actually under your reporting section. So you can see under the reporting section the business view report, the sales report, receivable report, and some other report as well. So it is from your reporting section you see your profit and loss, cash flow statement, and then you can see all the line item under it. So once I just click on it, you see now this is an example of a financial. So you don't need to start preparing any of your report again. Assumed that you've done your posting very well, everything will be captured. Everything will basically be captured in your account. So basically, it is under report. Okay, I think that should answer your question. Do you have any other person that has any question, basically?
Yes, so
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
please, you know that Zoho book has a free trial of 14 days.
No, Zobook has a free trial, a completely free trial version.
What you need? The one me I saw was 14 days. Oh,
It after the 14, once the 14 day elapsed, eh, then
uh,
you told them you now have to tell them you are using it for free. Then they will restrict some modules for you after the 14
okay,
days trial.
okay. Hope those modules are not part of what you are teaching us.
No, the major module will be available, but some other modules like budgeting will not be available.
Okay,
Yeah.
the scope of our work will still be available, Abby.
Exactly. We
Okay,
should be able
okay.
to do the normal stuff.
Okay, thank
But
you.
then everybody like fitting. You to subscribe now. Book is just for I think the list the future we take time to take the
We've
pricing
not
for all
started
these
now. I
things.
cannot just subscribe without starting anything.
All right, no problem. Just that. I think that's just
Thank you
that
for
about that.
today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, since there is no other question, I believe let me just take for those people that have been silent all through the class, Mr. Jamal, Ebon, Alagbile, if I got your name right. Do you have any question? If there's no question, okay. Thank you so much for tuning to the end of the staying to the end of the class. We are hoping that we will see you all next class, and the date for the next class and the learning objective will be communicated to every one of us. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, you can send them in to our group chat. Thank you so much. See
Thank you
you
very much.
next time. All right.
Yeah.